This review covers the 2021 Dodge Charger RT. It's a 125 scale kit from AMT, number 1323. The 2021 Dodge Charger RT was a high-performance sedan equipped with a 5.7-liter Hemi, and it delivered 370 horsepower. For a base price of $37,000, you got a car that went from 0 to 60 in approximately 5.2 seconds. And it also featured an electronically controlled active exhaust system, enhancing its aggressive sound profile. A new release in 22, this kit is a single-purpose issue, although it does have optional wheels. And AMT also released a Police Pursuit variant as a follow-up. This is a first issue kit. It has very clean sprues and body moldings. And there was also very little flash on any of the parts. Now, it's a skill level 2 kit that contains 144 pieces molded in white, chrome, clear, and clear red. And the tires in this kit have good tread detail, but no sidewall detail. It's listed as a skill level 2, but it should be built by a modeler with a little experience due to small parts and many small decals. Additionally, the locating pins for the body and the interior are a little tricky to get lined up. When you're done, it's 8 1/4 inches long, 3 1/4 inches wide, and 2 1/2 inches high. There are a lot of pieces in this kit, and the detailed engine and interior will testify to that. Now, the glass is nice and clear, and the chrome is just right. It's not too thick. You'll find the usual suspects for ejector pin marks you may want to clean up, and there's a very slight parting line across the drip edge and down the tops of the fenders in the front and the back. Here are the decals for the kit. As you can see, you get 3 color choices for the body stripes. You also get a plethora of small decals that will be you could use to finish off some of the parts that you would normally paint, as well as scripting, etc. The only thing is they're very small, so you have to be careful. They come off of the paper well, and as far as the big stripes go, you may want to use some setting solutions to get them to conform to the body. Construction starts with the engine, and as you can see, it's mostly an aluminum color, where the block and the heads, and then there'll be some satin black finishes as well. Now, as you move along here, you'll be able to add the pieces, most of them again satin black color, and you can continue to use the instructions that are at the back of the review. Add the oil filter you see here marked out with the red indicator, and then we'll move along to some of the basic engine items, the front pulleys, etc. You can see that they are satin black, along with the decals that go on top of the engine there, and the carb was given a little gold treatment. And here you see the final assembly of the engine. It's a nice looking engine, it's nice and clean looking, and between the engine bay fenders there, she nestles right in pretty nicely for all that horsepower. Next, we'll start looking at the interior, and first thing to do is add the seat fronts and backs together, so you can glue them together and get those ready. And again, they're a satin black as well. Next, we'll be working with the dashboard. You can see some of the highlights have been appointed with a chrome pen, but also there are a dozen decals that go into adorning the dashboard here, and several of them go even on the steering wheel, but you can also augment with some colored pens for some of the buttons, etc. You might have a better result on some of the decals here if you sand off the features that they're going to cover so that they stick well to the the model. The door panels are next, and they come with separate armrests for the front there, and you can also do some detailing without those getting in the way, so that makes it a little nicer. The center console is nicely detailed with multiple parts, and as you can see, it's a satin black, but you can add some chrome pieces to it to really highlight the interior. With all the sub-assemblies detailed here, it's time to add those to the interior bucket. And as you can see, it is flat black with the satin black appointments on the rest of the parts there. So go ahead and add these side panels. The tabs fit nicely, and it goes together very well, along with the rear seat. And then we'll move on to the rest of the interior. Next, you can add the pedals and the dashboard along with the front seats, and the dash fits nicely into the slots there in front of the doors. And so here's a look at that interior. It's nicely appointed if you can add a little highlight with the chrome pen to it. Work on the chassis here, and as you can see, the interior of the fenders and some portions of it are painted with a satin black, but the majority of it is a medium gray. And we'll be adding some heat shields and some of the aluminum parts here soon. On the top side, you can see that the chassis has been painted body color there for the front fenders on the engine bay, and also we're going to add the shock towers now to those places on the fenders. Now we can add the transmission mount there up front, along with the heat shield in the back, and we're going to position the struts in the front end as well. Next up, we're going to add the spindles along with the tie rods there, and they are designed in such a way as they will be posable. You know, they'll swivel on the mounting points there, so be careful not to get glue on. Next, you see the on the left side here, the lower suspension carriage, the cross members there, that can be added, and it goes into place and into position very nicely. There are positive mounts for almost every part on the kit. So here you see the upper sway bar has been added to the mostly right side from this in this photo, and as well as that, we'll add the steering rack. Now the firewall gets painted body color, and the upper portion, however, is a satin black, and we'll add that next. The engine bay items can be added next. You see the washer bottle there is flat white with a black cap, and we're also going to include the air cleaner base and the fuse box and radiator fill unit. Now it's time to add the engine into the engine bay. Scrape the paint before you do that, and use some thin but strong glue so that you can fully seat it onto the engine mounts. We'll also add the air cleaner when that's in position. We're going to add the radiator and the fans and the surrounds here, and as you can see, it's nicely detailed. Of course, the radiator portion is aluminum, and the rest of it is satin black. We'll put those together and mount them now. Along with the radiator unit, we're going to add the heater, or the hose here, the radiator hose, and that goes into position, of course, between the engine and the radiator. And so here's a look at that whole assembly up front: the engine bay, the engine, the radiator, all the fenders, all together. It makes for collectively, it makes a great looking and highly detailed front end. Go ahead and assemble the rear end along with the axles, shafts there, and the drive shaft, and we'll assemble those onto the body and put the two portions of the pumpkin together before you do that. And remember to locate the back of the engine with the front of the drive shaft when you drop that into place. Okay, you've still got plenty of detailing to do on the underside here. We're going to add an end plate there. That's a satin black. And also satin black belongs on the control arms, the the rear suspension device there, and then your pipes and exhaust, they're all aluminum, along with a heat shield for the crossover area that goes into the tunnel. So the heat shield goes in first, and then your exhaust, and then you add your crossover in the back. Now there's some more protective plates and cross members here that go on the underside, and they're kind of a flat black. And so here's a look at the rest of the details after they've all been installed on the underside of the floor plate chassis there. As you can see, it's a pretty colorful and very well detailed bottom side for a model kit. Now we return to the body, and after sanding the ridges off and any blemishes that you find, give it a light coat of primer. And then in this case I used a red for the body. It's a one-shot brand number 104L. It's a bright red, but there's equivalents that you'll see below the review here. And the full set of glass then, after it's dried, first you'll have to paint the inside of the interior, of course, there a flat black, and then add the glue glue the windows into position. Just use some white glue or crystal clear, and the rear view mirror can be added to the headliner console, and that console also glued into the headliner. The hood, of course, was also painted at the same time as the body, and you see here some of the large decal stripes, and there is a hood scoop grill that goes in from the back side, and that's glued into position now. Next, we're going to add the front clip, and as you see here, there's the chrome bezels, headlight nacelles that go into place, along with the grill pieces, etc. And so assemble that, and we'll fit that to the body. But please be careful that you take some extra time to make sure that it fits properly, that it seats properly, and that the gap between the fender and the body, or the front end and the body, is minimal. Next, it's time to do the same thing with the rear clip. You can see the reflector there, along with the tail lights and the decal that is used to highlight that, and the plates. Those will be put into position, and then you can add that to the body. Once again, fit that very carefully, and be mindful of a potential gap there. Now, with the front and rear attached to the body, we can go ahead and add the interior and the chassis into the body. Now, there are some issues there that we need to discuss. For whatever reason, on the interior, the locating pins in the body for the interior to be added are a little difficult to line up. So if you're having trouble with that, enlarge those holes for the pins to set in to make sure that it goes flush. Otherwise, you'll get a stack-up issue there. And once you get that into position, we can move along. Again, carefully be sure to fit the front clip into position. And once that's done, you can add the rocker panels and the wipers into place. Now we can work on those wheel assemblies. You see the stylized wheels here for the RT version, and also the tires. They've got great tread, but note that they are directional. There is a right and wrong way to put those into place. To describe it, you have the points of the V's on the tread when you're going forward, will hit the ground first. So be mindful of that. If you think the chrome is a little light or high on the wheels, you can give those a little spray of dull coat to kind of make them look more of an aluminum. Now you can assemble the rest of the wheels. Just glue that wheel retainer, the small pieces there, into the wheel, and then put the calipers into place. And they're keyed, so they go into position. So once you've got the wheel retainers dry, you can go ahead and just snap those onto the hubs, spindle hubs on the chassis. Now it's time to glue the mirror reflective pieces into the side view mirrors, and those are of course body color on the main body, and then there's a gloss black base. Well, here are the parts that I had left over. They include the optional 10-spoke wheels and a couple of hubcaps that belong to the police version, as well as some decals. Well, there you have it. Your model is complete. And as you can see, it's a real looker. The fact that it's a 4-door makes it an unlikely candidate for such performance. But it does have a very good performance record, and the Charger RTs were built with performance in mind. But As a sedan, it's pretty sporty looking, and the stripes, of course, really help with that. Give it a racy and aggressive appearance on the road. It has great handling, and the model is very nicely detailed with very few minor issues. But if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf.
Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations, where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.